Hello guys and welcome to the channel, and today we will talk about very ambitious topic which is called modularity. So a couple of words about me. My name is Sergey Panin. I'm self-taught artist who have been working on different projects on different studios. I have been working on mobile, I have been working on PC and consoles. And right now I'm working in Remedy Entertainment, but more I have been doing educational content on Russian language for years and have been working with a lot of students from different countries and places, and I have worked with more than 100 projects of different students, so I have small understanding with problems of students, of different artists, junior one, even middle one. So this topic which I wanted to discuss long time ago. So today we will talk about why modularity is important. So when we're talking about modularity, first you need to understand why we're using modularity in our environment. And there are a couple of reasons why we're approaching modularity environments in a modular way. First one, it's technical issues. Second one, it's speed of the work. Third one, it's artistic moments. So let's discuss different moments about modularity. Overall, when we're using modularity from the technical perspective, it's giving us a lot of benefits. Not in all situations. For example, if we're talking about Unreal without instancing, modularity can be used even in a bad way. It can increase your draw calls, for example. So when we're working with modularity, we need to understand a couple of things why it's affecting our performance. First, you can use smaller meshes. If every mesh, for example, building will be unique, it will be pretty expensive from the performance. It will have a lot of polygons. It will be drawn all the time. Even if you see small part of the mesh, it will still be rendering. When in modularity, each piece rendered individually, so it's affecting performance from this way. Also, obviously, mesh with 20 million, 10 million polygons of amazingly good done building will be more heavy than walls as individual meshes. So it's another thing how you can optimize. So you're optimizing your memory. So also you have physics and collisions. And a lot of junior artists and students don't think about collisions, but collisions can be very, very big pain on a production project because you have interactions, you have animation, you have destruction. So a lot of things can affect your performance from the collision part. So when you will be doing collision for a big building, it can be very big pain. When you're doing smaller collision, it can be much easier and much more optimized. So there are, I think, main reasons from technical perspective which we're using modularity, but another thing is just speed up your workflow. It's more about interaction with other people. And some artists do not understand that when you'll be interacting with a department like level design department, they do not care that you're using Maya on Blender. A lot of level designers not using Maya or any 3D software. They're using engine and they're working with meshes in engine. So when you're approaching your building unique, you do not give opportunity to level designer to interact with this object. So it's just something. Of course, you can use sometimes unique meshes, but about this we will discuss later. Why? But right now you need to understand, so you are not the only one who are working on the level. You have level designer, you have lighting artist, and the only thing which connect everybody together is engine. And when you need to do proper modular kit, not for yourself, it's also a good thing to have it for yourself, but also for all other people on the project who are developing the game, because other artists can use your modules, other level designers can do a proper modular kit, they can do new locations if you will do proper modular kit. So modularity, it's not about you, it's about teams. That's why it's so critical to understand why you need to do modularity this way. And the last thing which I want to mention is just speed up your workflow. Doing unique mesh can be very, very time consuming. If you will do approach with modular piece, you can speed up your workflow very, very much. Yes, it's requiring planning, but if you will plan your environment good enough, you can modify only 5 modular pieces, and I'm not joking, it really can be just 5 modular pieces, and the whole building will be updating. And when you are using modularity approach to your building, you're not only working faster, you also using the same shape language and design language in your building that give you opportunity to do proper like neoclassical kit, art deco kit, gothic kit. Like you can use the setting properly, because when you're doing completely unique mesh, it's not just heavy, hard to use for everyone. It's just not done fast enough, because you have insane amount of loops. The scene overall much more complicated. So when you are approaching to your environment from the modular perspective, it's not only one reason why we are doing it this way. It's even because we can compare, okay, if we're doing like game development, it's obvious why we're using this, but what will happen if we will be using working in animation? Is it make sense to do environment modular? Yes, even in animations or movie content creation, it makes sense to do things modular, because it will be more flexible for everyone. And that's why I wanted to talk today about how you should approach modularity when you start working on an environment, and what critical moments you should know and how to work with them. So from that point, let's move to our amazing software, and let's take a look on some examples. So let's take a look on this environment. I decided to take something like that because it has high level of modularity. It has blueprints and overall environment looking very interesting, and I think this can be a very good example of modularity for us. So when we take a look on this environment, we should think, so how can I approach it? So and it's very important to understand how environment overall works. So environment, in 90% I think, it's tileable textures. So of course you have unique textures, but in a lot of cases it's tileable. So you need first of all to understand how tileable textures work. And the issue with tileable textures is that they should have proper texel density and level of repetition. So this will mean that in most cases you will be using meshes, something like 2 meter, 3 meter, 4 meter, and then it will be 8 meter. So you will not use 6.5 meter modules, because your tileable texture will have very visible seams if you will do mapping. Yes, you can play around it. You can try to have some level of distortion in your UVs, but overall it's affecting how you will be working. So when we are talking about environment, we should follow a couple of recommendations. So modules should be not very small and not very big. Good advice, thank you, Sergey. But what I mean that if you will start doing everything as an individual piece, it will not be very flat. It will be not very good to use, because you will end with a lot of pieces which are not very comfortable. If you will do this building as this kind of modular piece, it will not be flexible. So that's what I mean when I'm talking about do not do too small, do not do too big, because when you will have too many small modules, you will have issue with too many static actors on the scene, and when you will have too big modules, it will not be flexible to other people and for yourself. So when I see something like that, I start thinking how I can use it more than once. And obviously we have, let me change the color. We have top piece of the building. We have one variation of the floor. Same story here. It has the same windows, so we can approach it this way. Then we're going to the bottom part, which is the most interesting one because it's unique. And all of these are unique on the first floor. So what does it mean? If we take a look on this modularity, we can imagine that, for example, for upper piece, we can use top part 3 times, right? So it will be the same mesh, only we'll have problem on the corner piece, right? So what does it mean? It means that when we'll be doing our modularity kit, we need to think how we will connect our corner piece. So this is an interesting challenge. Or in this case, for example, it does not have corner piece, so maybe you do not need it. So again, some issues will be completely related to the environment which you're doing. So next, let's think about this floor. So when I'm looking at this one, I do not see any reason why I should go with one window. I can do 2 options. First, I can do 2 windows and plus one window, so I can do something like that. In this case, I will have much more flexibility in the future, or I can do 3 windows in a row. But I do not see in this case it makes sense to go with just 1 window as a module. So then I'm start thinking how I can reuse and create more variety. And we see that a lot of windows, in some cases it's almost the same, but for example this part here, looking the same as this one or almost the same, but it has something like decoration pieces on top. So you can do a simple window like that one. So this is I think can be our basic point. And then we'll have variation of decoration on top. So if we talk from the modularity, we can approach this one. And then we'll have decoration element on top. And it will be super great. And then we can start thinking about first floor. And first floor, which in some cases can be called shop front, it's the most interesting and the same moment the harder thing to do. Because shop fronts are pretty unique. So when you're talking about your shop front, you can approach to it as a unique mesh in some way. So you do not need to do it like, so when you see something like that, you do not need to do it like this will be modular piece, this will be modular, this will be modular. You can, obviously you can, but also it will be fine if you will do it as a unique one. So you see, it's completely up to case. But in this situation, if we're talking about this environment, how I will approach? I will take a look on this doorway. So when I have a doorway, I will separate doorway and the door because door in a lot of cases are interactable objects. So I would do it not as a part of a modular kit. Then I will have a staircase, which will be a separate object. Then I will have this one because they're using the same, and again, why separate it? Because there are no reason to separate it. And then we have something like a bottom part. So now we can start thinking about thinking how we will name it. Obviously, this is top part. Let me change the size. So this is top part of our mesh. This one will be middle floor. And then we'll have decoration on middle floor. Let me change the color to be a little bit more visible on this building. Mid deco. So this is also middle, so you see we are repeating the same modules twice. Great. And this can be steel part, so you see this will be different variations of decorations. So this will be shop front or bottom one, up to you how you will use. Just to have a little bit of more variation, I will call it main. This will be bottom. This is looking like a pretty standard doorway. So it will be door plus doorway. And this will be staircase. And now I know how to approach the whole building from the modular approach, right? And I can start thinking about how I will have no seams in my tileable texture. And again, it will be pretty easy. Why? When I'm taking a look on this environment, I see that these are usually doors something about 2.5 meters height. So mostly, if I will do this around 3 meters, it will be completely fine, because of what I'm taking a look on this door, I'm taking a look on this window. I think this distance to be used as a 3 meter will look great. Maybe it will be not enough, and maybe I need to use 4 or 3.5. So what I will do in this case, sometimes in the architecture you see that they have this kind of additional transitions between floors and windows, so you can do additional trim piece. So if you want to do a first floor, not a 3 meters, but 3.5 meters, you can do additional 0.5 meters. And you can fix it, and also you can do additional interesting design here, so seam on a tileable texture will not be visible. So I decided that all my floors here will be 3 meters. So this one will be 3 meters, this one will be 3 meters, this one will be 3 meters. Top one, not really important what size it will be, we will solve it later. So I have taken a look on my environment, and now I can decide, okay, I decided that my pieces will be, so this will be, I think, around 4 by 3 meters. So this will be 4 meters, this will be 3 meters. And the same story here. And we can, the great part in this is that I can do this building any size which I want. Amazing. Also we'll do a simple wall, so looking very promising. So now when I plant my environment, I can say, okay, my basic metric in this environment will be 3 meters. And my tileable will be used mostly for 3 meters. 4 meters. 4 meters also fine, but sometimes 4 meters feeling a little bit too high. And also when I'm talking about modularity with 3 meters, 4 meters, it's not means that you're obligated to use only this one. I just showed you example with 3.5 meters how you can solve it. So you can play with it until it's comfortable to be used. So on that point, we're done with our planning, and we can move to doing first prototype of our building kit and talk about pivots, mapping, and everything. So I will see you after that, and let's go to Maya and take a look how it will go. Okay guys, now let's start modeling. So I haven't checked the sizes, so maybe in one moment I will... So right now I will show you basic logic. After that I will have a stop, because I have only 15 minutes to record this session. I think I will do some small pass on top, and then we'll check how it will work in Unreal. So let's go. So I'm creating a basic module. As we just planned, it will be 4 meters by 3 meters. And it will be our basic model. So first question which I hear on this stage, like, is it make sense to create thickness? And the question will be yes and no. So it will be related to how this piece will be used. We will have It's related to the engine very much. Conditions of use, because if it's destructible piece, of course it needs thickness. If it's exterior piece and it's completely assembled in the building, it makes no sense. So it will be case by case. Mostly in my environments I'm using them as flat planes, but in this case I think I will also use them. I was thinking like maybe I should do. I do not see any reason. So on this stage, I will not use this as a checker. I will assign simple diffuse brick texture. I have a lot of them, just for showcase how we'll be approaching our tileable textures. So I have something here. Let me. Okay, I think this can be used as a good brick texture for us. And let's go to the most interesting part of the modeling. So you see it's 3 meter, 4 meter, and no thickness. If you're interested in I'm using Ctrl T to see this transform node, which give me opportunity to see sizes. I think, in my opinion, the easiest one and fastest one. So we have this brick texture, and what I will do, I will go to transform. I will first unfold it because we want to have it unfolded. Then stack and orient because we want it rotated properly, and then set. And now we have proper textile density for this. And as I was saying, this is not what we want, because right now this is 3 by 4 meters. So if I will continue using this as like that, we will not see any seams. But if I will be using this like that, you will see we have a seam. It's not very visible just because this is brick texture, but it still have a seam. So how you can solve it? So first, we can say that our textile density a little bit lower. So we'll go with something like that. And if we will check textile density, it will be right now 6.8, which means 680. Which will be one solution. In this case, we will have seams if we will be start using this brick module like that one, but we're not planning to use it as a Z1, so this is not really a problem. Or another thing which you can do, you can, first of all, I will place it here just because I think it makes sense. You can have even like small distortion. You see, it's not really visible. Yes, you have distortion, but not right now your texture is fixed in a way. In our case, I will just ignore it for now, and then we'll see how it will go. The most critical part for me is that it's don't have seams on verticality. So this will be my main, main A. I will use A, B, C because if you will be using numbers, it can be a little bit messy in the end. So I will use this as this one. Then I'm creating a new module, which will be my Windows module. Right now, I will model everything super roughly just to showcase you some of the ideas. And then I will be cleaning up the geometry. So this is our double windows. Nice. So when we will duplicate it, we have no issues at all. So after that, we have our top module, which will be using different tile. So what we'll do, let's take, we'll use bottom piece. As I was saying right now, because this is not like tutorial about how to model this kind of things, I will not be commenting too much of my modeling, and that's why all modeling will be simplified. I am planning to do like a little bit more. I will show some of my secret techniques in Unreal 5, how we can improve some of the modularity, but it will be based on what I'm showing to you right now. But I still want to have an okay look with that one. Also, when you're working in Maya with modularity, I strongly recommend to use some of the things like step snap relative, because in this case you can have pretty accurate movement of your modularity. Overall, it's very nice to know how to control your grid in Maya if you're doing modularity stuff, but I think you get the idea. So, and right now we have this module 4 meter. We have this one, they have this one. So question how to do other window, which is single one here. So here we need to update this bottom piece. It was very simple one, just main, which we are not using. We're using different ones. So first step, which will be to have it because we're doing something like that, right? And you see we have issue here. Sometimes it can be even interesting variation, because in real buildings they have the same kind of like smaller offset, so this can be not even be a problem, but in this case I need to update it here. Right now, as we're saying, I will clean up geometry a little bit later. Also, because we have been discussing that this piece will be this kind of length, I fixed it, because as I was saying, if it's possible to use your modular pieces bigger, do them bigger, because there are no reason to do them small. So now let's fix this part. So this part we're moving here, and this one we're deleting because this is doorway. So now let's do proper doorway. Yes, I know, right now everything looking like super simplified, but it's fine. So usually doorway will be something around 1 meter 25 centimeters, because it's single door. And 225 for height, I think, will be more than enough. This door is bigger, obviously, if you will check the image before, because I have it here. Because usually 225 it's something like that, so this door will be even like 2.5, so it will be a pretty big one. So let's update it. 2.5. And this is the moment when I will check blueprints, for example, because right now I'm working without any kind of blueprints references, because I wanted to show like overall modularity approach. But at work, you should of course be a little bit more. Will it work? It worked. Because, yeah, in a lot of cases for me it's easier to approach it this way. Maya, be good. Thank you. So you see now we have our doorway and doorway mesh, and we can do proper doorway thing. So here we have our windows, which should be the same as that one. Yeah, they're exactly the same. They're almost no difference. So I will just copy this module and place it here. You see? And we see problem with offsets, which I need to fix. As I was saying, because I haven't prepared, I will update it in a second. But I think you see the problem in that one. So this is our basic basis. Also, you can see my approach on some modeling. Sometimes I think 1 meter bottom floor will be more than enough. And yeah, sadly we cannot do it like in one piece, because I check in again the reference and it's pretty different all the time. So we'll have single and double. Unreal, I'm just testing everything in Maya how it works, because in engine after that it can be much harder to find a solution how to clean it up. And now we need, I was a little bit in rush and deleted our simple wall, so let's have our simple wall back. What length? We want to have it 4 meters. Also in this case, this can be very useful preserve UV command, so you see it's continue tiling how you want. And we now have it how we want. This is exactly what I wanted. And right now, let's delete these two edges. If I will place it here, you will see a seam. So how we can solve it? We can solve it pretty easily, because in Unreal, you can use -1 scale. So if I will do it this way, you will see this butterfly effect. So when you have tiling like 1.5, it's not really a problem because you can do what I showed to you. Yes, it will have butterfly effect. It's called butterfly because you see it's obvious, like looking like a butterfly. But it still can be solvable. So do not care too much that sometimes your UV is not going straight to the end of the square. It's still some like tricks how you can solve it. And for example, for this building, which usually not very deep, you can easily use this pipeline and there are no seams on tiles, everything fitting super nice. And as we were saying before, we do not need to do corner piece. I will show you because sometimes it can be an issue. For example, let's imagine you have a nice building and it has this kind of corner piece. What you can do, let's take the same, because this is exactly why I wanted to do this tutorial, mostly to show like these small different tricks which I'm using. So you have two walls, and these, I think one of the reasons why a lot of meshes in game development look very odd and not very nice, because you have this very sharp seam and very sharp connection. So what you can do, let's do one more piece, and let's take, what I want to take? I wanna, sorry, right now I'm doing it a little bit strange, but I will show you another approach also. Now we can, yep, I think we can use this one. So you have a wall, you have another same wall, and what you want to do, you want to have a connection. So you can do it this way. Let's unlock normals and harden normals. So right now we do not have seam here. And you see, now you can easily connect your, so because this mesh ending here, then this corner piece ending here, and next one will be starting here, you will not have, and what you can do, you can do a little bit of geometry, because usually, as I was saying, this is looking super like stupid, and this is one of the reasons why your thing will look too game devy. So what you can do on this part, right now I'm doing just looks, but if you want to do it more optimized, there are other things how we can approach. I think with time, if you like, as we're saying, write in the comments, and if you're interested in some topics which you want me to cover, I will be doing these videos more often. And you can just, you can extrude it a little bit, for example. So there are different tricks. You can create a new geometry and transfer geometry. Sometimes I'm just doing it this way. So it's not the whole modular piece is super dense, but the corner piece, which you can start like moving a little bit. I think you get the idea. We will not use this one. I think we'll just use it more. Even that connection will look much better than it was before. Question, why we see a seam? Okay. It's becoming crazy. Now it's fixed. Yeah, now there are nothing interesting. Where I moved it, maybe. No. So that's how you solve your issue with angle. And now we are back to our building. So we created our basic stuff. So in reality, this will be your basic thing. What I forget to add is a staircase. So I think we're good to go with something like that. Again, we will clean up geometry later, and I will show it in a second. So this will be our staircase. I'm not using mannequin on this point because I'm mostly using blueprints. But it's not means that you cannot use mannequin, but I'm still checking a lot of things with blueprints because for me it's more important. I'm feeling this step a little bit. I guess we do it this way. So you see, sometimes I'm especially want to show you some of the things which I'm like done a little bit messy or something like that, just for you to understand that it's okay. So yeah, this will be our staircase module. I will delete all other staircase, we do not need them. And I will not do this mesh hollow. So there are a couple of reasons why it's still good to have your mesh not hollow. Mostly it's LODs. LOD system do not like hollow meshes. So yeah, I would prefer to do it. So now let's very fast do our window modules. And this will be default window, because if you remember I said that I will do a default window and then decoration of this window will be different. So all of them will have this this kind of shape in the initial mesh, but decoration will be different. And next time we'll discuss about modularity in textures, so how we can use modularity in textures approach, not like only geometry, because right now it's only about geometry, about proper metrics, but it's not the only way. Because for example, Windows, it's a great example where you can. Right now everything is super ugly, and you can say, why are you doing this so bad? Because for modularity, it's not really important. I'm checking how it works. Because you see, what is the most important, it should be comfortable to be used by people when they will be using by grid. So for example, this window in the middle of this window, and I'm using grid by 50 centimeters and it's not comfortable, it's placed here and has this gap. That means it's module done with problem, and we know that it's done with problem because of this, right? And this thing I will be fixing. So yeah, we have our windows, and we can have additional modular element as again, I will do it super simple right now just to show the idea, and then I will polish it for next step. You can ask me, can you do this in one mesh? Mostly, in some cases, yes, but for example, in this case, I would prefer to separate decoration and basic window, so we can do something. That's what I wanted to do. You see, when I start working messy, I prefer to go back because my do not like too dirty geometry, so I know how to fix it. So right now we have all our pieces mostly, and we can discuss about pivots. So right now you see mostly all my pivots make sense. They're in the corner, and like something like pivots will be completely related what you will decide with your lead and overall across the team. Because for example, for walls, in my opinion, you can use both as a pivot in the corner, but also in the middle. One thing which important, do not forget, is proper orientation of the mesh. Like if you're working on modularity, remember that everything should be looking the same way. In our case, Z is front, X is right, and Y looking up. But in some studios, it can be something like that. For example, like more, I think more, something like that, right? It's important to remember because otherwise you will need to rotate the module in engine by yourself, and it's not very comfortable. And as we have talked at the start of the video, the most important in modularity, it should be comfortable for everyone. This is about modularity, so the most important, like if you're using for modularity middle or corner, use it for every piece. It should be comfortable to be used. It should be comfortable that if somebody will change the staircase on a just closing on the bottom, it should be easier. So, and that's why, for example, in bottom piece here, I'm using the same pivot as a main piece, because bottom piece will never be used as something like that. It will be used only down the main module. So middle module in our case, using logic of this one. The same story, you can use pivot for up, sometimes like that. It also can make sense. And for example, for our decoration, decoration will be using the same pivot as window. And question, should the window use the same pivot as a window wall? In my opinion, no, because position of the window wall can be pretty different. They can have different thickness. So in my case, we start thinking, okay, where can be a pivot of the window? There are two obvious solutions, one in the middle, one in the corner. In my opinion, position of the corner for window not very comfortable. It's hard to align. So in our case, I will place pivot of the I will update it a little bit later, but I think in the current situation, I will place the pivot of the window here, and deco will be in the same position as my window, because decoration working. But as I was saying, it also makes sense if decoration will have the same pivot here, because it will be comfortable, and maybe decoration part makes sense. I will think a little bit and then we'll show you, but I wanted to mention like idea between how we deciding the pivots. Pivots should be comfortable. This is the main reason why we're doing everything here. And all pivot decisions, everything, like all of the pivot decisions will have their own problems. Some of them will work so in some cases, middle position will work very nice. In some cases, corner position will work very nice. Or for example, door, which is a good example. It can be reasonable to place position in the middle, but in a lot of cases, you do not want to place position of the window in the middle, you want to place it in the corner because you will be rotating it. If pivot will be in the middle for the door, it can be very problematic. So usually my position for the doors will be in the corner, and position for the windows will be or middle or bottom, because in a lot of cases it's just more comfortable. It's not very comfortable to be used when pivot of the window in the corner somewhere. Yes, it makes sense sometimes to make the same pivot for the wall because it will be easier to move. So mostly right now I showed you all the elements, and right now it's just about pure modeling. So I will do a small pause on this moment, and I will come back to you after a couple of hours of modeling and clean up the scene, just to be sure that everything is fitting properly. And then we will move to Unreal, and I will show you what I will be doing with these modular pieces in Unreal.
A few moments later.
Okay guys, so after cleanup, I can show how I ended with modularity. So there was a couple of updates. So mostly the only one important update that I increased the height. So right now we moved from 3 meters modularity to 4 meters modularity, mostly. So you see, this is how I ended with modularity and pivots, and I tested everything in Maya. So I modeled some parts, clean up some models, nothing too critical. So right now we'll start moving in Unreal and you will see how it will work. I have my meshes. So this one will be main doorway, window double, window single, window double again, it's the same one. So this is top trim double, bottom wall, bottom window double, bottom wall. About door, so this is how our door looking. In the end, you see I haven't placed the pivot in the side because this is unmovable door, so there's no reason. Window have me pivot in the middle. Decoration, I created two of them, Deco A and Deco B, so we can test them. I also created modules for the roof, so we have roof 4 meter and roof 2x 4 meter, and that's how everything is assembled. So I didn't done anything too complicated, so I just wanted you to show how it's ended. So you see I cleaned up some things because I checked proportions, I checked preferences, because I understand for this kind of video it can be a little bit boring. If you're interested to see more, just write in the comment. I will try to do something more organized. So sadly, at work usually you will have some kind of script which will send everything automatically to the engine. But sadly, not in our case. You can use the game exporter, and there are also some scripts which are doing this, but sadly, because of different reasons, I do not use them. So I need to move everything manually to the folder and then send it to Unreal. So yeah, I will come back when I'm done with exporting my meshes. So what I'll be doing, I'll be doing export modularity house demo. Here we'll have folder meshes, here I will have folder modularity, and here I will have my proper name. For example, for this mesh, SM bot window A. Then I will hide it, and I will do this with all my important meshes. Okay, after infinite amount of time, we're ready to import everything to Unreal. So I will take all my meshes on the second screen and I will drag and drop it here. I'm checking that I have proper settings. I turn off do not create materials, do not temper textures, and combine meshes. This is three the most important settings. I will not build nanite for now, maybe later. For now, we do not need it. I'm importing all. And we have one error, it's not a big problem. In previous step, I forgot to turn off previous house because it was using references, so I clean up it, but it was out of recording. So now our modular system almost ready to go. The only thing which we need to do to assign proper materials, I already prepared textures, but I haven't created the material. So I will create two folders. I will create masters and instances, because I will show you like more clean pipeline. So we will use simple environment, usually how it called A. So what kind of textures I have? I will use utility, and it will be ambient occlusion roughness, it will be utility normal, and utility base color. So why they're specific? Because you see their size super small, and if you will not be using, for example, in material anything, it will be super cheap. So this is the main reason why it's done this way. Another thing which you need to check is that your utility area is masks, because in this case it will have the best compression for something like that. I'm using pipeline, ambient occlusion, roughness, metallic. Just in case, let's connect text cord if we want to have additional tiling. Our material will be super simple, nothing complex at all, but still I prefer to do something. So I will go to environment, materials, masters, create instance, and we will have obviously brick wall A, which we will move to instances, move here. Also, we will need glass. Right now we don't have anything for it, and we need to create plaster, but I will create just a copy. mi plaster because I want to create another variation. And also let's create something mi dark plaster. It will be tinted one. As I said, we don't have anything for glass. I think we'll just use a metallic surface, very glossy. Maybe we'll use even something without textures, because for this showcase it's not really important. So now we need to go to our meshes and assign proper materials. And then we can work on these materials.
One eternity later.
And for window, we can use for now dark plaster, but later we'll change it on painted wood. I just want to have some colors. Okay, we assigned materials, so let's fix our materials very quickly. This is textures. I have brick wall, which we have used before. Let's check that this is masks, right? Nice. And we want to assign plaster, dark plaster. Let's go to our textures and let's assign to dark plaster. Materials I have used from substance source, and we'll have tint, dark one. So now we have dark plaster. Now we have regular plaster, so we will be using regular textures, which are super good for optimization. Okay, we're done. We can start using our modular kit. So, like, right now is the most important moment, how it will be comfortable to be used. And we remember that the key module will be doorway. After that, let's use grid 50 centimeters for now. We're going with window double. Then we're going up with window double twice. Then we can copy these modules and change it on a single one. Then we remember that we have a trim. Much better. But okay, nice. As I was saying, let's move 50 centimeters at the bottom, and we can start using staircase. Because I do not want to guessing when I'm placing it. Of course, with proper snapping, it's still working okay, but overall, it's better to create a duplicate of the mesh, place it, and here we wanted to use our bottom module, and because it's bottom module, we remember that it will place it here. And I think this is looking pretty good. So what I will do in the pause, and we'll come back to you, I will update materials a little bit. I want to create, because like this plaster looking too silly, I think I will create painted wood, maybe marble, or something marble-ish, and then we will place a camera, and I think we're good with this tutorial. So I will come back to you in a moment. A minute later. I updated materials and I think it's looking much more better. So I created new material, I created this very simple sidewalk, reassigned materials, have wood, and you see our building looking great for amount of time which we spent on it. Let's do some small fancy thing. We can rotate our sun. Take a look on our materials, how it works. let's turn. I think something like that can be pretty nice. So yeah, that's how it ended. Updated materials, so if you want to do more, you can easily do more. We have road, which is also done in a modular way, so if it will be something like production, I would need to, of course, update a lot of things, like door, obviously not working with the tileable texture, it should be done more clean. Some of the seams I would work on them. Of course, I need to work, obviously, window not working on a tileable texture, we need to do it with trim. But overall approach will be the same. Let me do one last. Let's see, camera position. I want something. Do I want something like that? Truth be told, let's try with something aggressive. Focal lens. Not sure it's working for architecture. Something like that, but I will work with film back. I want to do it. And we can take our merge house. Right? And yeah, I think that's how we will end for today. I hope it was useful, so yeah, feel free to write. This is my first video in this kind. I will release one more where we will discuss more about trim sheets, how you can use textures as a modular pieces, so a lot of stuff. And I also planned a third one, we'll see how it will go. But I really need your feedback regarding this tutorial. So if you appreciate it, like, comment, and I will see you later. It was Leoluch, Sergey Panin, and make good art.